YouTube, welcome back to Overlord House Gaming. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you a couple tips and tricks on how to go from Tier 4 all the way to Tier 6 as far as some equipment and gear. Now, I'm also going to be going through how you can do this as low as Tier 2 or Tier 1 as soon as you have access to a sandbike or a mode of transportation to get to the northern side of the map. But you can fast track your progression if you're just starting out as a new player, or if you're somewhere in the mid game and you want to try to get to the end game a little bit quicker with some more powerful equipment. I'm going to show you exactly how to get tier 6 weapons and some of the equipment and gadgets you can get from some of the overland testing stations very quickly without actually being the entire dungeon. So stay tuned and I'll show you guys exactly these routes that I use to get this stuff very quickly so you can fast track your progression in your playthrough. Alright guys, so the first spot we want to go to, and this could be done either with an Ornithopter, or you can either use a sandbike or just go on foot to get to this location on the map. But the lower tier levels are going to be a little more challenging because the enemies here hit hard if you don't have a shield. Even if you have a Mark II shield and suspensor dash, this is definitely viable. The biggest thing you want to have is a sugar wire claw or some sort of mobility ability to get around, like knee charge. But what our goal is here is to go to the Aegis. There's 4 tier 5 fortresses on the map that have tier 5 loot in Haga Basin, and they drop testing station like loot when it comes to the rewards. So you can get things like a Mark V buggy cut array, you can get Mark V Ornithopter pieces, Mark V Assault Thopter pieces, other buggy pieces, and especially tier 5 shields, power packs, as well as armor and weapons. And all of this can be done as soon as you start the game. So if you want to mosey on over from the Haga Basin south and just ride your sandbike all the way up to this part of the map and put a spawn beacon over here or put a small fob or a base, you could do that. I'm going to show you this location as well as the Passage of Artemis. Now, this location over here, I'd only recommend doing it if you are a little bit higher level because there's more NPCs and there's only 2 loot chests versus the 3 that I'm going to show you on screen over here at the Aegis. The other ones that are a little bit easier are the Edge of Archeron. This one has 2 loot chests, but the NPCs are more spread out. It's a little harder to get because you'd have to go basically from the starting area up through here, crawl around this area, and then loop through these rock formations down all the way over to here. Now you can put a respawn beacon over here, and basically what I would do if you're just starting the game is put a respawn beacon here and then loot it, respawn back over at your base over here with the gear you got, and then every hour once the respawn timer is up for that area, respawn back over here and basically repeat the process. And each time you're going to take a little bit of a Dura loss, but if you stash the stuff you get every time, you're only going to take a 2% Dura loss on all your equipment. So you just stash all your stuff, respawn over here, run it back, and then respawn. And you're going to come back with all of that equipment that is not droppable. So schematics you might be losing if you die over here, but schematics, who cares? You know, you want the stuff that you can use in the immediate future. So you can do that for this one. You can also do it for the Beast's Claw, which is another tier 5 fortress. This is a Harkonnen fortress. But let me show you real quick the Aegis run real quick so you know how to do this without taking much damage. Alright guys, so for the Aegis run over here on this part of the map, this is an easy one compared to the others. There's a lot more wiggle room. You're basically going to start at the top of this cliff. You're going to climb up to this cliff. You're going to go over here. You're going to try and avoid the NPCs. You can loot the small containers, but I'd recommend just focusing on the big ones. We're going to go in here. There's always an ad over to our right. Usually we're going to be careful of. We're going to grab this chest. We're going to go down over here. We're going to run for our lives and not try to get shot by everything before they aggro on us. We're going to come up here, pull up all the NPCs over here, and that way there's more time for us to react to them. And we're going to have rushers on us any moment. We're going to grab the key. We're going to run out here, hop back down, and then we're going to proceed to go into the loot room over here. Now, if you start taking shield damage, you just want to dodge a little bit and get out of their line of sight. Go over here, and then we're out like bandits. Now, we can either deal with the NPC right there next to us, or we can just ignore him and go up top for a second to break line of sight for the other guys. we can just jump down over here, Robin Hood away, and eventually he's going to get out of his leash and go back to his spawning area. Once he de-aggroes, we're going to go do some more James Bond stuff over here. We're going to climb up this one, and you're going to notice this guy's right here. So we're going to go avoid his line of sight. These guys are still here, unfortunately. So we're just going to grab this and get the hell out. Now, there's a couple ways to get these loot chests, guys, but as you can see, it can get a little chaotic. But there's 3 in total. 2 of them are pretty easy to get. The third one can be a little risky, so don't do that if you're super low level. I would recommend sticking to the other 2. But once you're out of here, if you have a suspensor dash thing to get away, just hop on back to your Ornithopter or back to your bike. And if you have a respawn point and you fail the first time, you can always go back and repeat it. But just from that run alone, we've already got ourselves a tier 5 engine. We've got ourselves a tier 5 snub nose. They can one-shot basically any NPC in Haga Basin if you're low level. We also have an engine for the assault ornithopter. We don't have the craft anymore, and we can use off the rip. And we have some of the components. Now, if you're able to clear out those NPCs at the fortress, you can get even more loot because there is stuff like complex machinery and other stuff laying around. But we're not really going to focus on that. So moving on, I will show you a quick loot route for the other fortresses, and then let's focus on the other area I want to show you guys to get tier 6 progression stuff if you have an Ornithopter. Alright guys, for the Passage of Artemis, this is going to be one of the harder ones to loot. But if you're just starting out, if you have at least tier 4 gear, you can at least survive the hits from these enemies, and you can take them out if you want. But we're essentially just going to do what we just did before, and we're going to kite up all the enemies and just grab the key, and we're just going to get out of dodge as soon as possible. You can avoid most of them just by getting out of line of sight. We're just going to do what we did before. We're going to hop down over here. We're just going to get out of line of sight as soon as possible and try not to take much damage. And we're just going to grab the galaxy chest and be on our way. Now, there's another chest over here in that same exact location that we had before from the other one. We're going to see if we can loop around and grab that in this run. Again, I'm not going to try and minimize how much damage I take, and I'm doing a terrible job over here, as you can see. But we should go wired up here, grab the other chest, and this is where we can just run away. Now, if you guys want, you can repeat this process by sietch hopping if you have an Ornithopter. Basically, what that is when you go to the world map over here, and it's pretty easy from right here because we're right by the world map. We're going to go over to here, and we're going to go to the main menu once we're on the world map and hop back in at one of the spawn locations that we were just at. So in this case, either the 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock spawn areas. We're going to either go here or go over here once we reach the main menu and switch sietches for our server. So you can do that if you want to repeat the process and have your luck at getting more plans, as well as getting more components for your tier 5 vehicles, armor, weapons, and equipment if you have an Ornithopter. But next, let's talk about if you do have a tier 4 Ornithopter, what you can do to fast track yourself to get tier 6 components. Alright guys, for this next section I want to show you how to get tier 6 armor, weapons, and equipment that you can use even if you're just tier 4 and starting out. All you need to do is have access to the overland map, and you can find the testing station that we're going to use to get this equipment easily over here at the bottom right of the map over here. So if you're looking where Arrakis is and you're looking where Haga Basin is, all you have to do is basically just go southeast over here to testing station number 24, and we're going to fly right into it. In one of my previous videos, I showed you guys how to do this on Testing Station 89, but I wanted to show you the updated way I do it with the Darkness Lab in Testing Station 24. So basically, most of you guys, if you're just starting out, you're only going to be able to do levels 1 through 5 on this. So pick the highest level you can possibly do. It's going to give you better rewards in the chest that we're going to loot right now. So select that. We're not actually going to complete the entire dungeon. We're actually just going to do one little section of it where we can get a chest really fast and without actually fighting any opponents. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it in the next 20 seconds. We're going to skip right across the quicksand over here. You can shake a wire that if you have it. Now we're going to avoid the NPC that is down there. To see him, we're going to try and avoid him. If he does pick you up, like, you know, if you get aggro from him, you can just go into the room over here before he actually reaches you. So go over here. You're going to sneak around a little bit. You're going to go right up next to the door over here. You can't really see that well right now, but once you turn the light on, you can now see it. Just going to crack open the door, and voila. We have this chest over here that drops tier 6 components and loot. So in this case, we got a Dew Reaper Mark 6, and we got a Regis missile launcher. Not super helpful except for the Dew Reaper if you're still trying to get water. But we can get all that loot. We can go hide over here. And we're simply either going to exit to main menu, which will take us 30 seconds to log out, or we can do the unstuck feature, which is active every 5 minutes, and it'll respawn us back to the beginning of the lab so we can repeat this process without even fighting the mobs or clearing the waves. And just like that, guys, we can do a reset over here, exit and re-enter, and repeat the same process. So that if you're tier 4, this is the fastest way to get tier 6 armor and equipment, so you don't have to actually farm it in the deep desert, and you can use this equipment to get ahead and further your progression. And you can backtrack and get a Mark 6 handheld cut array, buggy cut array at some point by farming plastanium, the DD. But this equipment's going to go a long way to help you get schematics and complete the quest objectives and other things you need to do for the progression. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the content. I'll be putting out more videos like this in the near future. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, and I'd love to know down in the comments below if you have any other tips or tricks you would add to this list of stuff that I showed today for new players, or if you're doing another playthrough, what you've done to fast track your progression to go from tier 4 to tier 6 and get to the end game. Thanks, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.